Welcome back to the CyberRisk TV live stream from Octane 2024 at Caesars Forum in Las Vegas. I'm your host, Mandy Logan, and today I'm joined by Bhawna Singh, who is the Chief Technology Officer, Customer Identity Cloud at Okta. And today we're talking about the era of the bot battlers.
Wow. I love the title.
I agree. This is fascinating. And you know, we're only a few hundred yards from the BattleBots arena here in Las Vegas.
Interesting. I did not know that.
So for those of us hardware nerds, that's incredibly exciting. And that's what came to mind when I saw our session title. So bot battlers, tell me something about that. What does that mean in your worldview?
Well, the important thing about the bad bottlers, or you can say just about bots overall, that they're not helping our customers, they're not supporting their needs, they're not aligning with what they want to do. They're actually in the way. So our job at Okta is to figure out different ways, innovative ways to stop these attacks, prohibit these attacks so that we are bringing in the right people or the right identity into the system and giving them the right kind of access. That is our core goal. That's what Identity Platform is for. The other aspect that also plays a role here in my space is as a CTO of Consumer or Customer Identity Cloud, our goal there as well is, you can see we are more on the consumer and SaaS provider space, which means that these bots are playing a big role into, let's say, saturating the system or taking, the infrastructure down or all of those things. And our job, again, as we are trying to serve these customers in real time, in least amount of latency, frictionless way, we need to make sure that we understand and separate the bots from the real people so that we can provide the right service, frictionless service to the people while we are stopping the bots. So more so, if you think about it, some of the industry, finance is an important industry where these bots are showing up more to get that financial gain. So how do we make sure that our customers are always, or we do right by our customers is our big goal here. That's what we're doing.
Which is wonderful. That's exactly an incredibly needed, and although it might seem like such a niche area in technology, yet we have to realize that identity is security.
That is so true, spot on. That is our mantra today in the keynote. You're just taking our mantra. Thank you.
Identity is security. And when you think of the statistic, I believe it's that now 50% of internet traffic is bots.
Yes, and the other statistics we just shared in our keynote is at Okta, we are stopping almost 3 billion or more, actually, identity attacks, not all attacks, identity attacks, bots is part of it, credential stuffing is part of it, every month. And it's only growing. And I will bring in AI, of course, in this conversation.
Please.
AI is only going to increase that capability, because with AI and the learning, in the right hands, it can do wonders. It's innovative. It can help the human do the right thing. But in the wrong hands, of course, that's where the malicious activity or we need to protect our customers. That's where we are trying to do. So we're also going to announce today, later in our keynote, for customer identity keynote, what we are doing for making it easier for our developers and customers to build AI capabilities, but secure it from the ground up.
Now, that touches on the news release of a tool that is being presented today, correct?
That's correct.
Auth for Gen AI?
Auth for Gen AI. Mm-hmm.
Okay, can you speak more on what that is focusing on?
Absolutely. So we looked at the different patterns, you can say, or the needs of applications built, Gen AI applications. And we identified 4, which we will talk about in our keynote today, where we are saying in our platform, it will come from the get-go using those 4 patterns or 4 requirements. Starting with authentication itself, every AI needs to be authenticated. Only then it can start doing something on my behalf as a user. So making sure that the platform is authenticating, and we're bringing our platform to developer platforms such as Vercel or any other cloud platform there. LangChain is highly used, so we're going to make sure that it's integrated with it as well, to make sure that when developers are building using these technologies to build AI, security capability or authentication capability comes from the start. The second one is API. If AI has to work and integrate and speak to other AI agents, it is going to do that through an API. So how do we make sure those APIs are secure and the right information is shared across these APIs, right? That's important. And I would also add the third one, which is the key aspect is that as user, if you're asking your AI to do a certain task, it's going to be async. So when will that AI authenticate or verify itself? You are not going to, as human, not going to wait. That's the whole idea of just offloading your task. So how do we make sure that that async verification is happening without you being bothered and that it's done right? And lastly, I would say the data. AI is going to rely on your access, your information, or key sensitive data. So how do you make sure that that is fully protected based on which AI needs to be authenticated, when, and with what context? So those are all the things that we are working to build on this platform, and it will be available. We will start building our wait list, but we'll have developer portal. It will be on that. So very excited about that.
That is incredibly exciting, and I am curious because my understanding was with, let me figure out how to word this, but as the tool is being implemented, there's an ability for the authentication of all of the APIs to continue in the background while also allowing a frictionless user experience that won't even understand that that is still going on, because it could still take hours or days.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you're spot on. When we are talking about the next generation AI, until now we have talked about productivity improvements for engineers or internal teams. We are now moving into AI into the products for customer productivity. We are going further. We are talking about consumers now. And how do we drive productivity improvement for you so that your mundane tasks like ticket booking or stock checking or all of that is done by, you can offload that task to AI so they can come to you at the right time and ping you, oh, this is happening, right? So to do all that, it has to happen behind the scene, which means your user experience is more of the information collecting or whatever else setting, right? But the AI is working behind the scene for you and then interacting with the human whenever it's the right time. All of that has to be frictionless. That's when the journey will start. And the delight aspect will come from the very point that you're discussing, which is that it's happening behind the scene, async, and it's interacting with the human only when it needs to.
Which, that to me is incredibly satisfying. I mean, being able to offload the mundane things is what we all dream of, right?
Absolutely.
I would prefer, again, as has been quoted in public media, that many people would prefer AI to handle the dishes and the laundry.
Oh God, did you listen to my talks? No, because that's exactly what I say. My biggest issue is if AI can do my dishes and laundry, it will free me up.
Very fair, but having these processes run in the background, being able to delegate and relegate to not only Okta, but then to the agents that are accessing the large language models, which I've got to say that with the tools being released, I really enjoyed that the ability of getting granular with allowing the authorization so that the specific user only gains certain information from the LLM. Fantastic.
That is the crux of it, because how do you trust this AI? You're human and you're giving this AI to do something on your behalf, which is important, and it needs your sensitive data, really PII data. How do you trust this AI to do the right thing? That's the important aspect that we are solving with the access, which is our fine-grained authorization part. So that you're giving the AI, based on the task that you want the AI to run, the right information, but also just enough, not too much. And that is the goal of fine-grained authorization product.
That thrills me. It honestly does. I think, well, I'm curious on your take. With being the CTO, having a technical background, do you feel in the past, let's say, decade, that a shift has happened toward developers being tasked with security, where before security was more handled not by the developer side? Do you feel that that is unfair and creating a lot more friction or stress on development teams?
Look, unfair is an open question. I wouldn't say anything is unfair because it's the job, right? And I would say security is very key part of any organization. It's top of mind for any organization. So as an engineer, whatever is top of mind for my organization is important for me to do. I would say overall, the need or the attack and the complexity of these attacks or the innovative aspect of these attacks has created a burden on every organization to figure out how are they going to support their organization, protect their organization, which means everybody is impacted. So to speak to engineers working on security, or the security is becoming a larger group's problem, I think we'd say that the saying is that security is everyone's problem now, right? We have to make sure that everybody's leaning in and helping. But that is the goal at Okta. What we want to do is we want to make sure that it's less of an issue or a burden on everybody, so that all aspects of identity, we are taking care of it. Complexity, we are making sure that we are absorbing it, so that developers are truly focusing on innovation, because we want them to focus on innovation, because there's so much to do with tech. There's so much, and AI is only making more things possible, right? Like more things we can think of. So that breakthrough is only possible so that only when we can make sure that developers are truly innovating, which means that can we take care of more of these interconnections, integrations, security aspects, the basic framework that is needed to start developing. We take care of that as part of identity platform so they can innovate. That is absolutely the goal that we are driving forward for.
Which is beautiful, because to my way of thinking, that means time is freed up and therefore stress is reduced on security teams and on the customer integration side.
Absolutely.
All the way around. Now, I want to go back to something you had said in a previous podcast that I had the pleasure of watching.
Oh, thank you.
And your viewpoint was that technology is used as a means toward universal progress.
Wow.
Will you say more on what you meant there?
Well, I must have been way wiser at that podcast conversation, but I will say, my point there exactly, as a technologist and a sci-fi fan, I would say, I believe that technology, of course, in the right hands, can be transformational and can only make our life easier. I mean, I remember the internet time, and everybody was like, oh, this is going to be, a doom, and what are we doing? And here we are. I can't think of us moving around without internet. So I think we are, with GenAI, we are at the next transformational period where more and very different things will happen. And when we talk about that tech is driving that, I get excited, because I see that as bringing more solutions, more ease, more delightfulness for our customers, and that's what tech is here for.
Well, I agree, and I would say, to me, part of what thrills me about security and technology is the ability to enhance that the basic human drive and need of being grounded, having a home base of understanding where you are in the world, and feeling some safety and security.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I'm curious, in our last minute, with the advent of the bot battlers, with the increase in the AI agents and the bots that are an increasingly massive part of what must be managed day in and day out, are there any popular misconceptions that you have seen around the security of AI agents?
I think the popular now, but there is a misconception, I would say. There are few, right? One is there's a fear about AI, but I would say AI in the right hands is the right way to move forward, and we can't be scared of a new technology, because the technology is already here. It's our job as leaders and technologists to make sure that it's being used in the right way, right? And then the other aspect with the bots is people think of bots as bad only. I think there are good bots too. And that is what AI bots, as we discussed here, or AI agents will be transforming into, to become that good bots to help do our tasks, which is what we need to separate. So the next generation is, until now we have operated as bots are bad, but we are moving into good bots and bad bots, and how do we make sure that the good bots get the right access, move faster, and are doing the work, while the bad bots are kept outside. So that is the key role.
Beautiful. So the battle resolution that we can have that everyone who uses Okta can work toward is reassigning bots to our common good. Right?
Wow, that's a lovely way to put it.
Well, thank you so much, Bhavna, for joining us today. This was really great. I
Okay.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you to our audience for tuning in to this live interview from Octane 2024. To find all of the Cyber Risk TV coverage of this year's event, visit securityweekly.com/Octane.